I'm Jeremy Loffredo on assignment for Rebel News in Hagerstown, Maryland, where the U.S. trucker convoy has been stationed here pushing 4 days. The convoy has made its way from the west coast of the U.S. 3,000 miles east to Hagerstown, Maryland, just outside of Washington, D.C. Smaller convoys are still joining the truckers at their current post, and hundreds more four-wheelers and RVs are now stationed together in Maryland. Since arriving, the convoy has done several slow rolls around Washington, D.C.'s Beltway, the highway surrounding the capital area. The truckers' demands, which include the dropping of vaccine mandates and the scrapping of the recently renewed Federal Emergencies Act, have yet to be met by the government. Walking in and out of the maze of 18-wheelers, I learned many of the truckers don't feel the slow roll strategy is enough to get the government's attention.
We're here for the fourth day, and we don't know much about the progress. They're still talking, we're waiting, and that's what makes us frustrated a bit. I think right now we should enter the capital. We'll be closer, we can honk our horns so they can hear us, finally.
While the truckers feel the strategy isn't getting anyone's attention, Texas Senior Senator Ted Cruz has thrown his support behind the U.S. truckers. Cruz met with convoy organizers at the Capitol in Washington, D.C. and defended them against mainstream media slander.
So, Senators, did you at all have any advice, have conversations about the next step? Because, I mean, they're kind of encircling D.C. now, quite feverishly, trying to occupy trying to occupy 2 lanes of traffic. Were there any conversations about what's next, the next steps?
You know, I'm going to respond this way. One of the things COVID has done is it has revealed truth. And the truth is revealed that there are a lot of politicians who are petty tyrants. There are a lot of big tech executives who are happy to censor and silence. And the corporate media is fundamentally corrupt. Let me ask you something. What the hell about these people is feverish? I haven't seen any fevers around here, but look.
They're encircling D.C.
I'm going to answer your idiotic question. And I'm going to answer your idiotic question the following way. The media desperately wants to portray people exercising First Amendment rights and speaking out as feverish, as violent criminals. They're not violent. In fact, one of the things they describe is when they stop each night, that they're stopping and making sure they pick up the trash, they pick up their cigarette butts. There's nothing feverish about speaking out for freedom. And the corporate media doesn't want people to hear that. They want to paint these guys as a bunch of loons because they want to make decisions for their own lives and their own family. There is a fever in Washington, but it's a fever of authoritarian politicians trying to strip away people's rights.
While some see this as a win, other truckers believe it's superficial and that the truckers should not be used by politicians as political pawns before demands are met.
I don't think that they should be talking to politicians right at this point because they're the reason why we're here. And, you know, they've done nothing but hurt the people. They tell you what you want to hear until they get in the office and they turn it around.
With ongoing discussions of the truckers entering the Capitol with their entire fleet of over 300 big rigs this upcoming weekend, and last year's January 6th event being weaponized to restrict political protests in Washington, I asked Senator Ted Cruz about the prospect of Capitol Police reacting to the truckers' protests and if he considers turning the keys to the left and other acts of civil disobedience as peaceful. How do you think the Capitol Police would react if the truckers peacefully parked their trucks in Washington, D.C.?
You know, I don't know. I think they have a right to peaceful protests, and I think this is a city that it's our nation's capital. We've seen protests for centuries in Washington from people from every political stripe coming here to protest. If you engage in violence, the police step in and stop you. That's what they're supposed to do. But if you're engaged in peaceful protests, the First Amendment protects your right to do that.
Do you believe parking your truck on the street and just staying there is peaceful?
Absolutely.
Bye.